Hi, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another great episode I have here for you on Marketing Automation Made Simple podcast. Some of you may know me, but for those who are new to the show, my name is Giovanna, and I run a marketing automation agency called Bumper Leads, and we help small businesses simplify and automate their sales and marketing systems to save them time, money, and help them scale their businesses faster. Today, I am especially excited to have Sean Herring as my guest to discuss a brand new report that his company ran on marketing automation and AI for small businesses. And the results will shock you, especially if you were in this industry for a while, like Sean and myself. So Sean Herring is the Chief Marketing Officer at AirSlate. AirSlate are a leader in document workflow automation solutions. And Sean has over 20 years experience in leading marketing teams from startup doing under 10 million in turnover to scale up between 10 and 500 million. So Herring's expertise in marketing and automation will shed some light on how small businesses can grow and compete efficiently. All right, Sean, your background sounds amazing, and I'm sure my listeners will be eager to learn more about you and this report awesome findings. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Very excited to be on here.
Yeah, can you please tell us more about your background, because you've done so many different things?
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm here regardless. I'd say for the last 20 plus years, I've been involved in either marketing technology or marketing technology in one way, shape, or form. And I've had the fortune to work with a lot of companies in various stages, from zero marketing people, like me being the only marketing person, to the current setup where we have about 250 people in the marketing team here at AirSlate. So had a wide variety of different experiences at different sized companies. And what's interesting is I've been gravitating towards the small business, and some people call prosumer or consumers that are professional users. I've been gravitating towards that because it seems like the democratization of technology is allowing everybody to tap into it. And it's becoming easier and easier. It's just a matter of who wants to use it. So that's my job, is trying to get that in front of it.
Yeah, sounds amazing. Let's talk about this report, because you guys have obviously run this report yourselves and you found some great findings and some shocking things that shocked me personally. But I would love for you to share some of that with our listeners.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is we wanted to understand, with all of this thought around AI, automation, you might put different words to it, but how do you get things to happen without human intervention? We went out with the hypothesis that there's a lot of people out there in the business world that are interested in automation, but might be scared of it. And so we tried to segment out audiences to try to understand how are people embracing it? How are they treating it? We were shocked to find out that usually what our findings are is very big businesses are very open to looking for automation, and very small businesses are very unreceptive. And it seems like it's kind of flipped. It seems like right now with automation, the accessibility is there for anybody to get into any type of AI that they want to, as well as there's lots of automation tools for documents, for sales, for you name it. We're finding that small businesses are actually leading the charge when it comes to not only being open to, but also using AI and automation, to the degree of about 90+%
Yes.
of small businesses that we surveyed, which is shocking.
It is.
Considering the size of cohort. We didn't just do this with 3 or 4 people. So we had a predominantly massive response on AI and automation. Isn't just a thing that they're thinking about, it's a thing they're building their businesses on top of now.
Wow. Yeah, that is really, really amazing to hear how accepting they are of technology. Do you think AI has kind of made it a bit more sexy for business owners to accept that?
Yes, I would say AI in the last year has definitely made a significant swing in that opinion. And ChatGPT obviously leading that, but automation has been around for a long time. A lot of the tools that I have helped to market for the last 20 years have been focused on automation. My first job out of college was working for a company that was trying to do electronic data interchange. It's automation, but it's the old school kind for a large enterprise company. So automation has been around for a long time, but the accessibility exploded this year. And yeah, you're right. The sexiness is there now where you can do certain things that aren't just boring old back office stuff.
Yes. Yeah, that's interesting, your background. With the small businesses, do you find that over the years, they were more accepting as well of automation? Just before AI, I think we had obviously the pandemic coming in and forcing a lot of small businesses to accept the online world. And it's a very different territory for a lot of them. How did you guys find that?
Yeah, I think what we saw, my experience shows me prior to the pandemic, people were open to the concept, but still in the tire kicking mode. Still just like, maybe I'll try it. Not really that important. It's more of a want than a need. And I saw this with a company I had started, as well as other small businesses. You just didn't really embrace it as a core piece. It was more of a nice to have when things are in a different area. The pandemic changed all of that for everybody when it comes to automation, but mostly how people interact and automation to enable that with video, audio, documents, all of those types of things really accelerated it. But still, it's more of a I have to, I guess, instead of I need to. Now we are at the point where with AI's explosion in the last year, it is now, I think the pendulum has swung significantly where a lot of businesses are like, I want to, I need to, and I have to. All three of those are true. And I think it's just really pushed it far in the last 5 years. And this last year has really made that big difference.
Yes, it has. What do you think regarding small businesses? What kind of automation tools they really need in their business to be efficient?
Okay, there's two answers to this. Okay, there's the ones that people are playing around with right now because they're fun and they are interesting, like imagery and copy, where a lot of people can play around and make images. They can play around and have AI write things for them. And then they have to figure out what to do with that, right? And so there's the fun part of it that I'm seeing people doing a lot of experimenting with, but the necessity part is really on the stuff that they always have to do. You always have to process documents in some way, shape, or form. You always have to send invoices. You always have to do certain things to keep a business running. And so what I think people are realizing is I can do the fun stuff. That's what the sexy stuff is that allows you to just go do experimental things. But they are starting to understand very clearly that all of the things that I have to do to run my business, I'm already doing it. Why not automate it now that this is much more acceptable? And so it seems like it's been a slippery slope in a good way of I don't have to worry about that anymore. Now I've got plenty of options instead of I've only got one or two big ones. And so that's what we've started to see is it's usually back office back office processes. And what we focus on is documents, but we see a lot of businesses run on documents, from hiring employees to negotiating with customers to legal. You name it, documents are all over the place. And so people are trying to minimize the work on documents because it's what we've seen is people spend the most time on documents, yet they feel like it's the least productive as far as revenue is concerned. So we try to help them flip those tables.
Yeah, all these documents, processing, signing, it's all about non-revenue generating activities that your sales, especially the sales team, they should be out there selling your products and services and not really spending hours trying to fill out documents and proposals. And yeah, so it's great to hear that. How much do you think businesses need to be automated? Like, how much automation do they need? So the documents, the back office. I know a lot of our clients, because we work in this space, they come to us and they go, oh, is it like email marketing? Is automation like email marketing? No, it's more than that. Then is it like CRM? I have a CRM, so I'm fully automated. So like how much is enough?
I think it's as much as they can handle. This is one of those it depends answers that every marketer loves to give, but no one wants to hear. I think that it depends on what I've seen through automation is with 90+% of SMBs being not only open, but probably have tried some form of automation that we've seen in our results, it's more about who you still have to own the process that's being automated. Do you have people that are owning the process that is being automated? And that's usually the limiting factor. Is you could automate content all day long, but if you don't have a place to put it, what's the point? Right? And certain people are starting to figure out that the automation really depends on your ownership and your process. And the more you've got a good ownership of different problems throughout your organization where there's processes that are involved, the more you can automate. The less you understand about your processes, the less you have people that know what to do and where the pain points are, the less you're going to be able to automate. So it really is truly kind of like a reflection of the business maturity. The more mature a business is, regardless of the size, but the more mature the leadership is of that business, the more they will be able to automate.
Yeah. Because you worked in so many different sizes of the businesses and, some doing up to 10 million. What was the easier business to understand for automation? Like, when did they need it? When they hit 1 million? When they hit 10 million? From day one?
Usually you see around the 1 million mark. I think million in recurring revenue, and I deal in ARR with software, but let's just say $1 million, you can get your way to $1 million a year through sheer grit. But when you want to go from 1 million to 10 million, you've got to start putting things in place that scale the people that got you there and the processes. And so what I've seen personally is you do a lot of things manually. You do a lot of Word documents. You do a lot of spreadsheets. You do a lot of individual prospecting on LinkedIn, and you figure out the rhythm and the process. And then you start to scale stuff. I'm biased, so call me out for this, but I would always try to automate the most mundane things first, which is always documents. Always. Employee onboarding documents, right? HR has so many things they have to do. It's not going to make me money, but man, it costs me a lot of time. Legal, there's a lot of documents there. Well, that's a lot of time and money. That's a cost center. So what I find is I usually try to automate things that are costing me money in order to put the resources, the human resources, into making money. Then you get into sales proposals or the customer facing materials. I would automate as fast as possible all around that. If somebody accepts your agreement, you should automatically be sending them an email. They should automatically have the next kickoff scheduled. Little things that take your time. And that's where you really start to see the impact and scale, is when you can automate the revenue side of things, then that will start to pay for all the other stuff.
I like that explanation. The cost center. But yeah, I completely agree with that. We have businesses currently working with a few in the mortgage broking space. There's quite a lot of regulation, quite a lot of documents to be processed, whether that's by third parties or internally. And, it's a sizable business that for us in Australia, a small business size is very different to what America definition is in the US. So for us, they're quite sizable in terms of revenue and stuff, but the owner has taken it upon themselves to do all the automations across every function in the business. Is that really the right thing to do? I mean, should there be a team, somebody dedicated to do all of that internally? How would you efficiently go about automating your business?
We'll come back to that maturity piece of the leadership involved. If you have an owner who knows from top to bottom what needs to happen and has all 24 hours in the day to do it every day of the week, yeah, I think it can be done. And I think it's something that I've actually seen people do. What I have seen that will work from a small company's perspective, but there will be burnout. It's at a certain point, someone needs to own that other than the owner in order for anything to scale. When you get to larger companies that have multiple departments and teams, and like I was saying, like a size of an organization that's maybe 50 to 100 employees, what you start to find is you got to specialize the process, usually around a leader or a department. And you got to start to specialize what are the things that those teams are spending most of their time doing versus what does the team need to produce from a value perspective. And if you were to just say, I spend 80% of my time doing what? And then what does 80% of the return to the organization come from? You usually find they're two different things. Get rid of the stuff that's the 80% that is not hitting the numbers that you need to hit. And generally what you will find is it's usually back office stuff. I got to get this approved. I got to send this to that. I got to copy paste. And I think what you'll see is I genuinely believe automation works when you've got an owner of a problem that understands their process. Those three things are what you need. And you could scale it significantly. It doesn't have to be just a department head. We did something here at AirSlate where we put together an AI SWAT team. And we had a cross-functional group across the entire marketing department where we had different people in different roles figuring out how to use AI to benefit themselves. Then they come and present on it. And we had all kinds of stuff. Good, bad, and there's some ugly. I can tell you the ugly because I did one where I had an image of myself and I had it talking for me. And I was like, I'll never show that to the public. I don't ever want that to get out in the world. But we had an AI SWAT team that allowed us to then understand and figure out different things from different perspectives. But when we came together, I saw different people learning from the different perspectives of, I didn't think about using it that way. And so you could do a top-down approach, which is, I got one problem, I want to solve it, and I'm going to go through and figure it out. Or you could do a bottom-up approach of, here's a number of people with problems that they solve every day. They raise their hand that I will invest a little bit more right now to do my day job and play around with AI. So that the three phases we're going with this AI SWAT team is figure out what AI could do for you. Then the next phase is figure out what AI could do for your role, people like you. And then the third phase is figure out what AI can do for the role within the department, the broader sense. So how do we keep scaling this up into the organization? And we've seen significant changes when you actually allow people to just figure it out. And that's why I think we've seen such explosion in SMB is everybody's just like, I'm just going to go do it because I can. So I think the more an organization could empower that, even a large organization, I mean, we're not the largest, we're 1,000 employees, but 10,000, 100,000 employees, it might be controlled chaos, but man, now's the time.
I love that advice. Yeah. And I'm guessing from AirSlate's perspective, you guys would also deal with businesses directly and you would have consultants. Would you have consultants coming in and helping as well drive some of those changes through the business?
With our solutions, are you asking?
Yeah, with your solutions.
Help implement our solutions or to help us with automation?
To create a solution, document workflow solution using automation, AI, would you have some external, like your certified partners coming in and helping businesses like my client, for example, who is doing it all himself, but has, 200 employees in the business? That's not a smart thing to do.
Yes, we've actually found that we have to, even if it's available, you still have to figure out how to make it work for you. It sounds great. This is why we were so astonished that so many people are trying it. And not only trying it, but embracing it. It kind of shocked us because we do see, even we offer a no-code solution, which means you don't need to know how to code. It should be a drag and drop, easy, intuitive process. But you still need some help. Usually what we see is we have a self-service process where people can go in, buy the solution on their own, and just go start using it. We also have a direct sales team that has consultants built into it. So if you say, look, this is what I want to do, I got 200-person team, our sales team is basically consultants on our product on how to get it both costing right for you as well as performing the right things for you. And we actually find that when we start to compare apples to apples with what other people are using, and I'm going to use air quotes automation, they start to realize how much they're overpaying for things that actually aren't automated. The third pillar is we do have partners. We've been building out a partner network that instead of us helping, if you want to reach out to them, absolutely. And there's all different kinds that could help in your automation journey around documents and different places internally and externally of how you use those documents.
That's great. Just going back to the report, because that is something very trendy you guys have done, something new. What are some of the, out of the 94% of the response that you got from small businesses that said 94% of them embraced and look forward to automation and AI? What are some of the other things that this report has shone the light on?
The 94%, I'll have to say, the 94% really that was one that I got stuck on. I think what's interesting is the number of people, SMBs are known to have to grind, right? Like to do a lot with a little. What was interesting is we also saw 2/3, like 66% of people saying that they would be open to embracing a 4-day work week. So I have never heard that from a startup that I've worked with. Usually it's the opposite. It's usually a 7-day work week. And it's a matter of how much time you can take off versus what this says. But it's an interesting shift because I also think that comes from the pandemic as well as it comes from automation and people just realizing that there's a massive shift towards work-life balance. And automation could be your gateway to it. And I have personally seen a lot of people be able to work actually regular hours. And I say regular hours because I've been in software for so long that I get skewed on regular hours aren't 9 to 5 for me. Regular hours are when I'm sitting at my computer or when I'm not, right? Because I'm always at it. That work-life balance piece, I think you're seeing work-life balance of work can't be everything. And thankfully, there are tools out there now that make it so it doesn't have to be. And so that's where people just start going, all right, I don't have to write copy. I'm going to go and instead of hiring a copywriter or me figuring out how to do Shakespeare, I could just go and take this tool that's free or even pay like $5-10 a month. And I could write all kinds of stuff in any voice I want to have it. If I want to do video, there's options there. And now people start playing around with it and it feels more like fun. But if you could just get it to work, then I don't need to work 5 days, 6 days, 7 days a week. I'd actually like to enjoy life. And I think that's the other part I've noticed is SMBs are no longer, not all of them, but a lot of SMBs are really trying to balance out how much is going into the organization from a personal time perspective versus how much is coming out from revenue. I don't think there's a direct correlation anymore of the more time I do, the better this results in. I think it's a smarter working environment now.
Yeah, sounds like a lot smarter thinking by the business owners. The reason I started Bumperly was to travel, to have a better life, like a lifestyle, location independent.
There you go.
I started that in 2016 and allowed me to see the world and work, still grind, but work, but also have my weekends and 3-day weekends or 4-day weekends where I can go and explore different cities, cultures, learn languages, and enrich myself. And that really, I'm so grateful for that, for the technology, for allowing us to do that. And I know that speaking with our clients, they often see that as their big vision or a big drive objective to go and experience a shorter work week. So it's interesting to see that in the report as well. There was a word that I thought was interesting used in the report called CRMification. How do you say that?
Oh, yeah. That's a tough one. Yeah. CRMification. That is definitely one that we made up. All we're trying to do is we're trying to capitalize on all this work has been embedded in CRMs, customer relationship management systems, like a Salesforce. Kind of led the pack on this a while ago. But what we're seeing is a lot of small businesses get the use of like, okay, I need to know who my customers are. I need to kind of keep track of what they're doing. If I can do a better job of that, it makes my life 1,000 times easier. Well, one of the interesting data points from that was almost 100%, 97% started to see that the CRM capability is essential. It's crucial now. So it's no longer, I'll worry about that later, or it's a spreadsheet somewhere or something like that. It's like, no. That's like almost one of the first things that you want to get in place is if somebody pays money, I want to know who they are. I want to know what they're doing because I'm more likely to get them to pay more money, or it's easier to get them to pay more money than it is to find another person who's willing to pay money. And so that's where you start to see this whole thought process of, if I have a CRM, now I actually can automate a lot of things around my customers. How do I send happy birthday notes? Like all that email stuff that everybody sees. Some marketers, unfortunately, get a little carried away with it. But CRMification, if you will, is just taking what big companies used to do with teams and departments 20, 30, 40 years ago and turning it into a software tool that you pay a subscription every month for now. It's just amazing what we've seen. That's a perfect example of you've consolidated down something that used to be departments, teams, folders, and libraries of documents. It's a click away now.
Yes.
And once you get that data, that click away is now a click away from potential revenue. So small businesses, they get it now way more than I thought they understood it. of it's not just a nice to have at this point. It is crucial. The word crucial came up a couple times.
Wow, crucial. Yes, exactly. Another client that comes to mind, they have data fragmented everywhere and it's sitting in 5 different platforms and, 10 different people rely on this information and they can't make sense of that. Or they'll have to get other tools and other tools and other tools to make sense of this data. And it's crucial, like you said, is merging, especially if you are in those revenue generating departments with marketing and sales and bringing that together. And CRMs these days, they've innovated so much in that space to allow you to enrich that data yourself and to make those smart decisions. So are there any trends that you see now? Obviously, this report that came out has revealed so much changes and small businesses adopting these changes. What do you think the future holds in the next 5 years or 10 years in this kind of space or even longer?
I think what people are going to what we've already seen start to happen is you're going to see the consolidation and specialization of things. Instead of it being teams like that take care of your customers, it's going to be a tool that allows you to then specialize on what you want to do with that data. So I think we're moving, and big businesses have been moving towards this for a long time, but they've been throwing money and people and processes at it. The benefit now for SMBs is this has been democratized out into the market, and then AI just comes and blows it all out of the water, where I don't have to have a specific person to do every single thing. I don't have to have a specific tool for every single step. I get to pick and choose what I want to do, and I can plug in stuff and I can unplug stuff if it's not working. The trend that I see is you're going to have SMBs with a bigger tech stack than they will have a people team. You're probably going to have a significant ratio that's flip-flopped where I might have one person to every 5 to 6 tools. And now you're scaling people. And so I've already seen it. Like startups in the software world, I've seen 3-person startups doing stuff that 30-person teams couldn't do. So I think we're going to keep seeing that. And the people that are going to figure out how to do that appropriately, I think you're going to see a lot of tech stacks being built instead of department orgs. And I think that's just either you get on the train and you ride it, or you watch it pass by. But there's a lot of people that have been focused on just getting data. And you just mentioned it, right? I got data everywhere. Well, how much time are you spending on trying to find the data, understand the data, and then do something with it? There's tech stacks that can take care of all of that. And right now you got people that are trying to do all of that. I think you are going to find different technologies being put in place so that you do have the capability of just saying, I could ask in an AI format like a ChatGPT, if you have things set up right, what was my revenue last year versus this year? And can you give me the gap analysis, blah, 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 blah. And you'll start to get feedback on that so you can take action instead of working all of that time to just find the data. So this massive shift is happening. I'm already seeing it. CRMs are that CRMification. It's already happened. SMBs have embraced it. Now they're trying to figure out what do I do with it. And that's where you see all this play around with automation, because that's the fun part, is now I'll see revenue when I start to do things with the data.
Yes, when they tie it to the revenue, they can see, oh, what else can I do? What else can I add?
You'll learn from other people. Yeah. And that's where you plug in tech, but you become much more flexible. I think the ability to plug in and unplug stuff quickly, there's an adaptability where think of it, it's like evolution. Like, I think I should be doing this. I'll plug in some tech and I can plug it in days and weeks, not months and years. I can also unplug it if it's not working. And so people will find their way, and SMBs will grow significantly when they are very, very flexible and they focus on speed.
Yes.
When they get to speed of knowledge on does it work or does it not, technology is just an empowerment to that. You're not subservient to it as much as we used to be.
Yes.
To one solution. Yeah.
I love that. I could talk to you forever, Sean. There's always some sage advice you share. And our listeners, they're all combination of small businesses, but also other marketing automation experts and other digital marketers. And I think they're going to get so much value out of this. And would it be okay if I share your report findings in the show notes for listeners?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And obviously, I'll share the link to your company because I love your website. If anyone's listening and they're working on redesigning their website, I would say this is your gold standard. Look up to airslate.com. It looks amazing.
I can tell you that is based off of, we do everything based off of what works. So steal it. It's out there because it works.
Because you've tested it.
Have at it. Oh, we've tested beyond tested what's going on there. Yeah, every little thing is tested and it definitely works. So yeah, I mean, that's a perfect example of we've automated everything around even testing our own website.
I love that. Thank you so much, Sean. I'll also include your details as well. I think I've got your LinkedIn socials so people can connect with you on LinkedIn. And I really look forward to reconnecting with you again at some stage because it sounds like you have amazing knowledge.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you.